The reason why you're not scaling with your OnlyFans agency now is really broken down to one thing. And the one thing is that you're simply not putting the work on the right thing. What do I actually mean by that? The actual things that you're working hard on aren't the things that are needle movers and drive results and drive sales and traffic to the agency. But what do I mean by that? So my name is Luca, I'm 22 years old, I run a 6-figure OnlyFans agency, and I've been doing this now for 3 years. And one of the biggest things I hear all the time is that people in this business specifically are always working on the wrong things. And what do I actually mean by this? So a very, very good example is that I had a conversation with one guy, broke down exactly what it is he was doing within his agency day to day, like just having a normal conversation, broke down what are you doing day to day in terms of to grow your agency. Guy broke down, he goes into the office at 9 AM, leaves at 11 PM. So in terms of hours per day, I think, don't get me wrong, 10 hours would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 14-hour days. So he's working 14 hours per day. He's not, the guy's not broke, he's making over 6 figures a month. But he's like, I don't know what to do, what more work I need to do to actually scale. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I was like, okay, cool. Breaking down what actual things you're working on. So one thing was like posting on Reels. Another thing was checking on the chatters, checking on the VAs, training a new VA, talking to the models, finding new ideas for Reels, finding new ideas for Reddit, finding new ideas for TikToks, finding new ideas for XYZ. Another thing was training a new chatter, phasing in a new chatter, talking to, reviewing the chat, scheduling mass message, scheduling PPV messages, all these little individual tasks. And don't get me wrong, all of these tasks are good and important for your agency, but really break down, are those things that you as the owner of your agency should be doing, or should there be someone, or should that task be delegated to someone? And one of the biggest problems is that I hear all the time is, especially with people in OFM, is that no one can do marketing better than them. Chatting, everyone, to be fair with chatting, everyone does love to outsource chatting, and it is pretty easy to outsource chatting, have a full chat team, getting a chat manager, all of these things are easy. I mean, maybe to some people, maybe getting a chat manager isn't even a brainer decision. One of the main reasons as well to this is that everyone is so focused on the highest possible profit margin without realizing that obviously profit is important, don't get me wrong, like it's obviously the most important thing in the business at the end of the day, but without realizing that to make more profit, to build a system and teams that scale, if your focus is profit, then you'll never win. Because if your focus is, I need to make this percentage of profit per month, if I make 100k rev a month, I make, I don't know, 60k profit, 60%, blah 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 blah. If your focus is that, then one, you're not going to hire the key hires that you need to hire in order to scale the agency. Two, you're not going to hire the people that you need to run the day-to-day so that you can think and put your time into getting more clients and actually scaling your agency. And three, you are so fixated on this percent or whatever that you'll always be in this boat because you can't ever get your time back. You're always focusing on low-level tasks and you'll never be able to scale. And by far, the biggest problem I see is not people doing the wrong traffic sources. Everyone knows to some degree, do Instagram Reels, do Reddit, do Twitter. Yes, you can get a better strategy, don't get me wrong. But what everyone is failing to realize is that they're doing every single thing themselves. And the biggest bottleneck within everyone's business is you. If you're not where you are if you're not where you want to be, that is your fault. You are the bottleneck. How are you the bottleneck? Well, you're not hiring the people you need to hire. You're not thinking clear enough. You're not acting clear enough and operating like an operator would, or doing the right day-to-day task. You're posting, you're doing mundane, low-level, outsourceable tasks. And you have to look at, like, realize, like, oh shit, why am I actually doing this? Well, no one else can do it as good as me. That's a limiting belief. If you believe no one else can do it as good as you, I'm saying this from experience. I always thought that exactly myself. I would post myself, think of ideas myself, do everything with the models, like talk to the models, etc. Plan everything, schedule everything myself. I was the worst. I was exactly what I'm talking about now, like over a year ago now. And you have to get past that limiting belief of that, oh, no one can do it as good as me. Because in reality, if you break down, let's say like that example there of 14 hours a day, if you break it down, you're spending about 1 hour per day, give or take, on over 10 tasks. So about 30 minutes to an hour on over 10 tasks. You're actually shit at all of them, like in a nice way. You're shit at all of them because you're not spending your whole day on one thing. And everyone loves to say, pick one business model and stick to one business model. Everyone loves to say, don't niche shop. No, don't jump from this business to this, to this, to this, to this. Well, don't jump from task to task to task to task to task. Stick on one thing and do one thing better than everyone else. The agencies, the people in business that make the most money, do one thing better than everyone else. They either sign better clients, they drive traffic better than you, or they drive sales better than you, or they have better operations than you. And if they're doing, for example, millions a month, they're doing all better than you, and they're doing everything better than you. So it's not a complex thing. Like, it's not a complex solution as to why you can't scale. It's not you need a new strategy. It's not you need new models, because if you took on 5 more models now, let's say 8 more models now, and you're doing everything yourself, how the f are you going to post for 8 more models? How the f are you going to think of ideas for 8 models plus, let's say 2, 3, 4 you have now every single day? You can't. You simply can't. So you have a business where you can't scale because you can't take on more workload because you're doing everything yourself, and then also you're complaining that you can't scale because you feel like you're banging your head against the wall. So what's the actual solution to this? So the first thing you need to do is actually sit down and break down your day. Break down every 30 minutes. I've done this myself. You break down, what did you actually work on for that 30 minutes? You literally just write it down on a piece of paper or on a Google Doc, whichever you prefer, or notes on your phone. Write it down what you've done for those 30 minutes. At the end, do that for a whole week. So for five working days or 7 days, or whatever. Do that for a week and then break down, what did I get done? What was my time most spent on? Like, was it spent on, I don't know, finding ideas, talking to chatting, signing clients? Break down everything you were doing, whether it's distracted. I mean, if you're still obviously getting distracted while you're doing work, scrolling on Reels on YouTube or on TikTok, again, that's another thing that you'd have to write down. And break down, what are you actually focused on and what are you actually spending your time on? And once you break that down, you'll clearly see, like, oh shit, I think I'm working, but I'm not actually working. I'm doing all of this work, but none of it is real work, and I could easily have a team on this and I can hire for this. And then your next problem is, okay, but I don't know how to hire properly and everything. Then you break that problem down and why you can't do that, and break that as to what are you doing wrong. For example, like I say this all the time, whenever I need to, for example, hire a poster or something more low level, just because it's a low level thing doesn't mean I go through 1 or 2 or 3 applicants. I go through still 50 to 100 applicants, even to hire something as simple as a poster. And the reason is why is because at the end of the day, even the most low level task, if you have someone incompetent on that task, you're still going to have to micromanage. You're still going to have to do it yourself. And do you still want to do that? Do you still want to do it yourself? No. Why? Because if you still do it yourself, you have that as a bottleneck consistently. If you have to literally walk your posters, for example, through step by step every single day on brand new models, on new accounts, on etc., how can you scale? So you need to break down these problems as to how do you step by step solve them. And it's a lot easier obviously said than done. It's a whole process. But once you start actually thinking and acting on the right things within your agency, that's when you will start to month on month see growth and see new clients sign, high quality qualified clients sign, scaling the high quality qualified clients, and delivering more on traffic, getting better ideas for traffic. For example, like when it comes to traffic, if you're the owner, for example, and your job is obviously to drive traffic to your model's accounts at the end of the day, and you're spending only an hour a day on finding ideas, on researching, on thinking of new ideas, how the f do you expect to beat someone who's spending 8 hours every single day just on ideas, not focused on posting, not focused on editing, not focused on anything that isn't the idea? You're literally at 8x level of 8x lower level of output, and everyone knows the more effort you put into something, the higher the chance that you get results, or even get lucky to some degree. With some content there is an element of luck. The more effort you put, the more you get in return. So why you're not going, let's say, viral with your reels, why you're not going making money from Reddit, from Twitter, from any of these platforms, is really a case of you're spending maybe 30 minutes a day, maybe 20 minutes a day on this specific strategy or platform, and you're expecting results. And in reality, it's never that easy. It's never as easy as someone tells you their strategy, and the next day you implement it and you make money. Everyone knows this. And you need to break down, why is that not my reality? Why can't I do that? And it's the reason why there's a lot more that goes into it. And once you break that down, and once you realize, oh shit, I'm the bottleneck, I'm the reason why we're not at where we need to be at, whether you have a business partner, whatever, within your agency, or you're doing it yourself, you obviously would just have this conversation with yourself. Once you realize that, then you're truly kind of can start thinking and operating clearly. And once you have that kind of freedom, in a sense, to operate clearly, is when you can start making the right decisions and doing the right things day to day that are actually going to start scaling your agency. But yeah, I think for rambling, if I just circle back, one of the main things on everything is just reviewing what you're actually doing on a day to day, and is this really what is going to scale the agency? And then you can make your decision from there. But in terms of, if you want to actually know more about how I think and how I operate, and how you can obviously apply that to your own agency, you can book in a free one-to-one call with me. In these one-to-one calls, what I do is basically break down a whole roadmap as to why you're still stuck in your current situation, what you can actually do, the step-by-steps you can take, and what you can get to by taking those step-by-step measures. So if you guys enjoyed this kind of content, enjoyed this video, check that link in the description if you want to know more, get on a call with me. If not, I'll catch you boys in the next video, and I'll see you next time.